Hello and welcome to today's video. Today I will be creating Espoo bus line 246 which runs from Espoo center to Röylä and another way back to Espoo. And without further delay, let's create the line. This one is a bit of a special line once again because part of it is run only to one direction, but we will get to that later on. So we start from Espoo. And we stop at Kaivomestarin katu. Then we stop at Kirkkopuisto, Lehtimäki, Lommila and Ikea. Kirkkopuisto, Lehtimäki, Lommila and Ikea. After Ikea we will then stop at, let's see where we'll stop after Ikea. At Bembölen silta. It's called Bemböle, no wait. Where am I? Yes, that's right. Bembölen silta, Bembölebron, which is a stop right over here. So new roads immediately. Whoops, not that way. There we go. That's it. After Bembölen silta we will then stop at Tollimäki. Tollbacken. So yeah, let's build a bridge in here. Go back to ground level. There we go. After Tollimäki, we will then stop at Vesirattamäki. Vattenljusbacken. Here we go. After Vesirattamäki, we will then stop at Koshbacka. Is it that far out? Let me see. That's right, Koshbacka is pretty far out. It's over here. This is once again a fairly long line, but with a fairly small amount of stops. Oops. After Koshbacka, we will then stop at Lokkarin Puro, Klokkabäck, which is over here. And after Lokkarin Puro, we will then stop at Oittanranta, Uitstranden, and after Oittanranta, we will stop at Kellonumentie, Klockmalmsvägen, and there we go. So we should be able to go around this lake. After Kellonumentie, we will stop at Aurinkonietentie, Solingsvägen. Sorry about that. There we go. Oops. And after Aurinkonintuntie, we will then stop at Kalmari, called Kalmar in Swedish. And after Kalmari, we will then stop at Pihapirtintie, Gårdsbotesvägen. Come on. After Pihapirtintie, we will stop at Pirttimäki. Pirttibakka. Come on. Come on. There we go. After Pirtimäki, we will stop at Uusitorppa, New Turpet. Oops. And after Uusitorppa, we will then have a stop at Kaisankoti. That's Kaisankoti in Swedish also. There we go. After Kaisankoti, we will stop at Pakankylän koulu. That's Pakankylän koulu in Swedish. Sorry about that. There we go. Sorry about that. Sorry about that too. After Pakankylän koulu, we will stop at the Niittyveräjä. Engesgrindin. Whoops. There we go. And after Nytveria, we will then stop at Snittans. There we go. And after Snittans, we are going to stop at Röylän koulu. Röskogsskola. There we go. But it's not over yet, because now I will have to figure out how this line runs back to Espoo. It doesn't do a loop, it does something else. So let's see what's gonna happen. So we're down to Röylän koulu in there, and then let's see. Yes, we will continue forward and stop at Röylän risti, Röskogskorset, which is over here. And after Röylän risti, we will then stop at Punametsän risti, which is actually an existing stop, but not really. Punametsän risti, Röskogskorset is a stop. Okay, we'll place it in here. So there we go, that's how ends meet. We merged Röland Risti with the Punamessan Risti. And the Swedish speaking name is actually the same. Because apparently Röla and Röskog are the same thing. Oops. So there we are. And then let's see what happens then. Then it will stop at the Latapelto. So let's build these blueprints and then go back to the lines and see where we'll have to start creating this line in itself. We're actually going to go around Lake Bodom. If you've ever heard of Bodom, that's probably meaning that you've heard of the band called Children of Bodom, which is a very, very famous Finnish metal band. And that's named after the killings at Lake Bodom, which happened right at this lake back in the late 50s or the early 60s. That's a famous thing. Now after Latapelto, we will then stop at Gubakka, Marinpuro. And then we're once again going to head to our own ways. I don't think that the Marinpuro stop will be over there because I think we're gonna turn. Oh wait, what the fuck is going to happen here? No, that's Marinpuro. Okay. After Marinpuro, we're gonna stop at the Brödtorp. Where the hell is Brödtorp? Yep. And then it's gonna continue straight instead of turning. So it's gonna stop at Brödtorp, which is over here. And let's move the signals a bit. That's much better. Then let's. Oh, okay, the signals are fine. Oops, that's not fine. And let's add these signals. There we go. And after Brödtorp, we will then stop at Rajanummi. Råheden. So what this line does is that it runs around like Bodom, it seems. Well, there will probably be an additional line running to the other direction. Let's have a look at that later on. And after Rajanumi, we will stop at Torskulla. Which is in the next big turnover over here. There we go. And after Torskulla, we will, oops, not there. We will stop at Kivipylvääntie. Märkestensvägen. There we go. Then let's see what happens next after I've managed to create the road and the signals. Let's just cut some corners short, shall we? I don't really care about running straight lines. So there we are at Kivipylvääntie. After that, we're going to stop at Kivipylväs, Märkestenin. So this is how it's going to be carried out. Let's see. But now we have a crisis because I'm starting to run out of beer and we're still pretty far from the connection with the existing roads. And there we go. So this is where we should connect, and I'm running out of beer. It's a catastrophe. Then we will stop at Budomikartano, Budomgodin, sorry about that. There we go. Getting closer, but still far away. After Budomikartano, we will then stop at the Puusmetsinkuja. Whoops, no, don't do it. Oh well, I did it. Puusmetsinkuja, Puusmetsgrendin, which is a straight road out over here. we go. Getting closer, getting closer. After Boosmets in Kuja, we will then have a stop at Bodomsmeets. That's gonna be in here. Oops, well, okay, that's fine. After Bodomsmeets, we will stop at Vihermäentie. Grönkullavägen. Here we go. And there we go. And after Vihermäentie, we will then stop at Spångfall. That probably doesn't need a Swedish-speaking name, so Spångfall it is, and it's over here. There we go. And that should actually do it. I think we have now created all of these stops to both directions. So what is left to do is to connect the lines with each other. And then connect the roads with each other and then create the rest of the line. This was one hell of a line. It sort of runs through half Espoo, and like I said, I believe that there will be another line which complements this line and actually runs it in reverse a couple of times a day. There we go. And that's it. Connected. Bingo. Whoops. Well, that does. So there we go. Let's build all this shit and then let's go back to the lines and see where I used to be. So we stopped at Marinpuro and then we're gonna do this loop to the south of Lake Bodom. Sorry. There we go, Spångfall and then Kaisankoti. And after Kaisankoti we're gonna stop at Uusitorpa, Pirttimäki, Piha, Pirtintie, so we're basically gonna go to the basic line, alright? Kalmari, Aurinkoniityn tie, Kellonummen tie, Oittaan ranta, Lukkarin puro, Koshbakka, Vesirattaan mäki, Tollin mäki, Pempelensellä taisi one way stop, we don't stop there, then we stop at Ikea, Espoo, Lommila, Lehtimäki, Kirkkopuisto, Kaivomestarin katu, and bingo, we're back at Espoo. Whoa! No wait, we also stop at Espoon Tori after Espoon Asema. Well, okay. Makes things interesting. I will not make things interesting. That's how the line runs. And 246 runs. Let's see. Approximately every hour. So that's the schedule we will be using. Okay, let's see then. 246 approximately every hour. Kom ihåg det där. So we're gonna use 2 buses on the line. And that's it. Roads have been built, lines have been created, buses have been bought, and everything has been set up. There will be a new video tomorrow. Until then, bye!